All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I have a very interesting video coming to us from Rob Noerr. Like, if you guys are not aware of who Rob Noerr is, he is a gentleman who decided to debate Destiny for 6 hours. Yes, I am not kidding. This man debated Destiny for 6 hours. We reacted to a little bit on Hypnocast. We also saw the clip where Destiny rage quit this particular debate. But Rob Noerr has been clipping that live stream and putting out clips of where he absolutely wrecks Destiny in every single argument almost. And honestly, I think it's hilarious, and I wanted to bring it to you guys today.
Are you fucking retarded? The hell's the matter with you?
Do you want me to be fucking retarded?
So we have a video here with a title that says Rob finally corners Destiny, so he pivots to irrelevant specifics. Now, this is something Destiny does a lot. I saw a lot of you guys comments on my last video, and you seem like, most of you seem to agree, for the most part, that Destiny will do one of two things. He'll either talk really, really fast, or he will try to argue in whataboutisms, essentially. He will take whatever you're talking about and try to apply different scenarios that have nothing to do with the subject at hand in the hopes that it gets you in a gotcha moment, something along those lines. That's essentially one of the two things that he does. Well, in this scenario, it seems like Rob has got him in a corner. So let's get into this video, guys, from Rob Noerr. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. And on top of that, Rob's video will be in the description box below. So make sure to please go check it out. Tell him I sent you and show some love. Make sure to like the video and give him a long view duration. It's definitely going to be worth it. All right, here we go. Let's react to this. Let's react to this crazy video.
Hold on. Can you acknowledge that you're being a massive piece of by bringing up what could have been encompassed?
Well, that's a strong start. That's really strong.
We need to get
anytime Destiny goes into a light Yagami mode, just understand that meltdown is going to lead to some sort of self-destruction. It always happens.
So if you go to the bottom of page 99, the last paragraph, it says, although we acknowledge that these definitions vary and some are arguably broader than others, for the purpose of deciding this case, we need not adopt a single all-encompassing definition of the word insurrection. Rather, it suffices for us to conclude that any definition of insurrection for purposes of Section 3 would encompass a concerted and public use of force, threat by a group of people...
Wait, hold on, wait. I'm sorry, reread. You said, finally we noted that at oral argument, President Trump's counsel, is that what you started reading at?
No, the paragraph below that. It starts with 184. Although we acknowledge...
Definition variants are arguably broader than others. For purposes of deciding the case, we need not adopt a single all-encompassing definition of the word insurrection. Rather, it suffices for us to conclude that any definition of insurrection for purposes of Section 3 would encompass a concerted and public use of force or threat of force by a group of people to hinder or prevent the U.S. government from taking the actions necessary to accomplish peaceful transfer of power in this country.
You see what I'm saying? Even when he's trying to read, he reads ridiculously fast for whatever reason. I guess to try to make it seem like he's taking in the information faster than the normal human being can. You know what I mean? But it's insane. Like, why are you reading like... Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, so now we had two cases, if you count the district case 3. The Colorado case, the New Mexico case, and then the district Colorado case. If it's true that the definition of insurrection is so obvious, why do all three use different definitions?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That was a long pause. That was a long pause, man. Holy shit.
Can you read this paragraph 184 and can you tell me what you think they're saying?
Yeah, they're saying there is
read it and then tell me what you think they're saying.
Okay, although we acknowledge that these definitions vary and some are arguably broader than others, for purposes of deciding this case, we need not adopt a single all-encompassing definition of the word insurrection. Rather, it suffices for us to conclude that any definition of insurrection for purposes of Section 3 would encompass a concerted and public use of force or threat of force by a group of people to hinder or prevent the United States...
Okay.
Now, you want me to tell you what that says?
Yeah, what are they saying here?
Okay, what they're saying is there's a lot of legal definitions for the term insurrection, and we're not going to choose to take one of them to define the term insurrection. But we think that all definitions of insurrections would include public use of force by a group of people to hinder the U.S. government, and we think that's what January 6th was.
Or why? For what? Why are they defining it in this way? For
Section...
for
14th
purposes
Amendment?
of deciding this case.
Right.
What they're saying is that, because courts typically try not to decide more than what for them, for the purpose of deciding this case, they don't need to adopt they don't have to rule out what the all-encompassing definition of insurrection is.
No.
Right?
I understand that. That's my argument. My argument is that you and other people like you that have said it's so clear what the definition of the term insurrection is. It's clear that this is a standard. It seems to be belied by the fact that we've only had 2 cases in the past 100 years, and they couldn't even agree on what the definition of the word insurrection is.
That's not true. They're not trying to agree. What's happening here is they're saying that Colorado Supreme Court doesn't have to sketch out an all-encompassing definition. The Supreme Court is literally, hold on, just to be clear, the Supreme Court is literally repeating almost exactly what I told you earlier, which was that whatever definition of an insurrection exists, January 6th was clearly an insurrection. That's literally what they're saying here. They're saying, we acknowledge that there are definitions that are, there's some vary, some are broader than others, some are whatever, but for the purposes of deciding this case, we don't need to figure out like the every single all-encompassing definition of the word insurrection. Rather, it's good enough to say that, at least for purposes of Section 3, it encompasses a concerted and public use of force or threat of force by a group of people to hinder or prevent the U.S. government from taking the actions necessary to accomplish a peaceful transfer of power in this country.
That seems like a very convenient thing to have, considering that, you know, they wanted to bring up charges of insurrection, but nothing actually landed. And if nothing landed with a non-encompassing definition, right, if they haven't actually defined to a T what an insurrection is, and you couldn't charge people even with a broad definition such as that, that means it probably wasn't an insurrection. You know, and Destiny, for some reason, cannot let this go. I don't know why he's harping on the January 6th thing, because every debate that I've ever seen of Destiny, I genuinely want to see him argue other points, because I only ever really see him focus on January 6th. And even if he's arguing something else, the moment someone even mentions January 6th, he's like a fucking hound dog that just jumps on the topic and never lets it go. It's an interesting thing, but let's see what Rob says.
That basically maps onto the 4 points that I'm using. You understand that, right?
Right. So you just repeated what I told you at the outset that this said, that they chose specifically not to adapt a definition of the term insurrection and just said, we think any definition of the term insurrection would encompass what happened on January 6th. So congratulations, you got to exactly where I said. The point of me bringing this up was they haven't charged these sorts of things for over 100 years.
None of that. Why do you keep...
Let me finish.
You have no idea. No. I'm not going to let you keep saying the same thing about charging a crime when you've already agreed it's a bad argument.
There it is, the light Yagami mode, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're calling it now. That might be an insult to light, but at the end of the day, it's the closest thing I can explain an utter meltdown. Once Destiny starts going off like this, like a fucking chihuahua, it's game over. The man is going to lose his mind. Let's watch.
Hold on. Do you agree that a riot can happen without somebody being charged with a riot?
Yes.
Do you agree that an arson can happen without somebody being charged with arson?
Yes.
Do you agree that an insurrection can happen without somebody being charged with insurrection?
Yes.
Then why do you keep saying they haven't charged an individual with insurrection?
Because the fact that we could see that your definition and some of these definitions as well would have meant there were thousands of insurrections over the past 100 years. It beggars belief to say that of all those thousands of insurrections, they never even had one court case. Not even one.
You can't give me a single example.
Sure. Vietnam War protest.
Okay, which one?
Dozens. Any that had any
give me one of them, Rob. That's how legal questions work. You have to give me one protest.
Okay, so any protest. I don't have the fucking dates in front of me. Okay, how about we do this? How about we do this? I can give you.
You just trying to give me a legal example, and you don't know the facts of any of the cases. You're not prepared to discuss this.
That's not true.
Why would you bring this as an example if you don't even know?
That's not true. What you're asking me to be like, June 17th, 1968, exactly at the GPS location of longitude 117.13.
Do you think that's the same as me asking? Can you give me one example of a protest?
Let me ask you this, Destiny. Are you aware of were there Vietnam protests where there was violence?
I'm not aware of there being people that were brought together to all go and
What do you think they were doing? What do you think every Vietnam protest?
Prevent Congress from voting on? I'm not sure. I'm not aware of any of those. No, I don't know any of those.
It wasn't a matter. They were against the executive and legislative policies that entered us into the Vietnam War.
You're allowed to protest. Yes.
Right. And if they engaged in violence while they're at the protest, that's a fucking insurrection. It meets all four criteria.
Only if they thought that through that violence they could circumvent or compel or change or coerce lawmakers into changing a law.
What do you think? What do you think
that might have happened, Rob? I'm telling you.
What do you
it might
think
have
they
happened.
were
Give me
doing?
an example.
What do you think they were doing when they were there protesting? They were trying to put pressure on Congress to pull out of Vietnam. Yes?
You're allowed to protest.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And yet, according to your definition, that fits all four criteria. All four criteria.
Rob, you haven't given me anything that fits all four criteria.
A Vietnam protest.
Okay, which one?
I'm letting them go at it right now without trying to talk too much towards the end here because I want you guys to get the full idea of what they're arguing about. But this is what happened throughout the 6-hour debate, where anytime they went on a subject and they finally focused fire on one particular subject, all it took was Destiny having a meltdown, and Rob would pretty much follow suit because he knows that once Destiny starts having a meltdown, that he essentially has him, right? He has him pretty easily. There's no doubt about it. And if he just riles him up even more, it'll make it easier. Not only that, it's good content watching Destiny have a complete meltdown, but let's watch the rest of this really quick.
Name one.
We're speaking in the abstract here. Then I guess
no,
we'll say
you can't speak in the abstract about a particular thing like this.
I absolutely can, right? Because what I could do is we'll just say that it was a hypothetical. And if you want to make the argument, nope, there were no Vietnam protests where violence ever broke out. If you want to make that argument, that's fine. You're absolutely right that I can't tell you. In Portland in 1966, on March 13th, starting at 8:03, a bunch of protesters showed up.
You're making it sound like this is so ridiculous to ask you for a hold on. Can you acknowledge that you're being a massive piece of shit by bringing up what could have encompassed thousands of protests and then concluding that I have to accept that there was an insurrection by my definition here when you don't know of a single example, a single specific example? You understand that you're being in insanely bad faith there, right?
It's not bad faith. Everyone's aware of the fact that we've seen video of it, of Vietnam protests that got you had organizations like the Black Panthers that were routinely there. There were we've seen the video, we've seen the tape. I don't have this.
There's so much. Then do you want to? Can we look one up and you can find me one? You're telling me there's video footage of the Black Panthers saying we're going to gather at this particular place and engage in violent action so we can get these congressmen to change their mind or some shit. You can show me because by the way, if you can show me something like that, I'd probably say like, oh, this kind of looks like an insurrection.
Notice how you change it. Where does any of that entail? Where the hell does any of that entail what your definition? All your definition says, let me remind you of what it doesn't say, we're going to engage in violence so that we can change. None of that's necessary. You were very clear. It's
by force or intimidation.
Let me finish. An assemblage of persons, well, almost any Vietnam protest would be that, acting to prevent the execution of one or more federal laws, preventing the lawful declaration of war in Vietnam for a public purpose, clearly a public purpose. And the only thing that you would quibble about is through the use of violence, force, or intimidation. Well, if they were there armed, or if they were there to clash with police, you've already said, well, that's clear cut. If they were clashing with them, especially if they had any sort of weapons, well, that's proof.
Show me.
Oh my God. I can't. I'm sorry. It's funny to me because at the end of the day, man, we know that Destiny is going to run around in circles whenever his argument is put in the corner. We saw him do it with Andrew Wilson. We're seeing him do it with Rob Noerr. It's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Every time Destiny decides to want to stick to a topic, right? It almost never is the primary topic of the stream, the video, whatever the case may be. They were supposed to be talking about is January 6th an insurrection. How we got to Vietnam Wars and how we got to all these other what about it situations is ridiculous because at the end of the day, they're not January 6th. And you could try to bring them up and try to apply it, but none of it really applies. And this is why it just turns into nothing, unfortunately. So at the end of the day, I found this video to be extremely entertaining. I did like the way that Rob Noerr kind of trapped Destiny in his own logic because he keeps trying to apply Destiny's own definition to what they're talking about because that's the best way to kind of bring about his argument and tear it down. But ultimately, I feel like he really didn't go anywhere, right? Destiny's still going to be Destiny. Rob's still going to be Rob. Nobody really learned anything aside from Destiny can't stop taking L's left and right. So go check out Rob Noerr's channel, guys. The link to the video is going to be in the description box below if you want to watch it in entirety without any commentary whatsoever. And I hope you consider subscribing to this channel if you enjoyed. And please make sure to comment and let me know what you thought of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Hypnotic out.